Welcome back here at Cardines Field. Our pregame show continues. I'm Nick Lima in for the vacationing Rob Massey here for the next week and a half on the ACVL Broadcast Network. Glad you could join us here tonight. Now it's time for the Broadcasters Roundtable. Alongside longtime Newport Gulls broadcaster and front office member George Bissell is back here for reunion night. Also joined by Darren Zaslow of the Danbury Westerners. Darren, we're going to start with you. The Westerners have had a little bit of a struggle to start here in the 2015 season.
Definitely a struggle coming into tonight's ball game with a 2-14 overall record. You're probably wondering what's going on with the Westerners. Well, they have the worst pitching staff in the entire NECBL, giving up about 6 runs a ball game. As a team, they're hitting .221, averaging about 3 runs a game. They've committed the most errors in the NECBL on defense. Those statistics aren't going to win you a lot of ball games.
All three sides of the ball, that might not be a sign of a bad team. That might just be a sign of a team that's just still trying to find his stride.
Well, it's interesting you mention that because the Westerners have led at some point in 9 of their 16 played games. So things at times are going well for the Westerners. They just got to find a way to put it all together for all 9 innings.
The Gulls and the Westerners, meanwhile, Darren, will face each other 6 times this summer. 2 of those games are already in the books, and they were both played pretty tight against this Gull squad.
And that's what these guys are saying here. You know, the Westerners really played the Gulls pretty tight with 5-1 and 2-1 losses. They were really close games. That 5-1 game was probably a lot closer than what the scoreboard actually had to say at the end of the day here at Cardines Field. But the Westerners always come in here when they play the Gulls, the defending 2014 NECBL champs, always come in here with a chip on their shoulder.
Darren, tonight's the Newport Gulls' 15th anniversary celebration night. We were talking a lot about the Gulls' history, but hey, the Westerners have more history than just about any other organization in this league, except for maybe Mystic, who can trace their roots back to the beginning. The Westerners started in the 2nd year in the league's operation, the longest continually running operation in the NECBL.
And a lot of people have a lot of pride back in Danbury, Connecticut. Wherever they go, some of the fans travel with the team to go watch them play. How about Billy Burns for the Oakland A's getting called up? It's great for a former Westerner to get the call to the show. It's a team that is always going to fight, scratch, and claw their way in every single game. We'll see what they can do here tonight.
George Bissell, you've been around this league a long time. You've seen a lot of great players come through Danbury, in fact, including players like Mike Old.
Yeah, Mike Old, prospect now with the Chicago Cubs, the name that sort of occupied third base before Chris Bryant got called up. And you mentioned Billy Burns. There's no better personification for the Danbury Western in a way. Just gritty, guy who fouls off pitches, guy who's had to work hard for everything he's ever gotten. So those are the types of guys. Those are the Danbury guys. And you see that throughout the years. And when you look at this Newport team, I've been impressed so far the way they started this year. The 8-game winning streak, and then one of the more special nights for the season today, obviously off the field as well.
George, you joined this organization in 2010, was a staff member here for 4 years, broadcaster in 2010, 2011, front office staff in 2012 and 2013. You've come back for a few games here now this summer to be part of this once again. What does it mean to be a Gull? What's it mean to be a Gull staffer?
Well, I think it starts at the top. When you look at this ownership group and bringing baseball back to Newport, they've had such a big impact on this franchise. Chuck Pava, Chris Patsos, Ronnie Westmoreland, Greg Fader, Mark Horan. Now, it starts at the top, and then this coaching staff. You look at Mike Coombs. He's been at the helm, at the managerial staff for the better part of the last decade. And Kevin Long, Al Leva, it's that stability at the top, and it breeds just a winning atmosphere. And you can't say enough, and there's so many people. You don't have time to stand here and thank all of them. But the volunteers, the grounds crews, the host families, they make this such a special place to come here and play summer collegiate baseball.
George, a lot of the players will say at the end of the season, this was the best summer of my life, but it's not just in the moment of a championship win or a championship loss. It's something that stays with them. Because we'll ask the same players 5, 10 years later, and they'll still say, that was the best summer of my life. What is it about this place that's so special? It's not the only ballpark in the country.
I think it's the history here. It's such a unique setting. When you just look at, no foul territory, the hockey-style dugouts. A lot of guys have never even seen a field like this. And you get guys who come here from Kansas, Indiana. They've never seen the ocean. And coming here and spending a summer in Newport, it's a life-changing experience. And for guys, the best example of that, I think of Mark Appel, guy who had thrown 15 innings at Stanford as a freshman, came here, blossomed into a guy who's selected #1 overall in the Major League Draft. So that's sort of the thing that Newport has tried to breed over the years, and I think they've done a fantastic job, and it obviously starts with that ownership group.
George, we're going to spend the next 3-4 hours or so in this broadcast talking a lot about the 15-year history of this organization. What are some of your favorite moments going back to 2010?
I always think of the little things. Whenever you were getting ready for a game, preparing, you think about everything that could go wrong. And then it all fades away. Once the music starts, the players take the field, you start the pregame ceremonies, it becomes a reality that, hey, this thing's happening. So it's a lot of anticipation and the build-up, and there's just nothing like it watching a game here on a summer night. Those are the things I'm going to think about when I look back on this experience, and I know all these guys playing are as well.
George, finally, you've been a broadcaster in this league for a couple years. You're going to be filling in on the air for Rob Massey a couple games next week, a couple pretty fun road trips up to Sanford and Keene.
Well, unfortunately, I won't be getting to work with Darren. We've already, built a special bond here already tonight. But I will be up in Keene and up at Goodall Park in Sanford as well. Those are my two favorite spots in the league, away from Cardines Field. You got to give it to the history here. But I love making those trips, and there's no better place outside of Newport to watch a game than those two parks.
Darren, finally looking forward to a good contest here tonight as we get set for Newport Gulls baseball to host the Danbury Westerners.
It should be a great ball game. This is a day where the Westerners need to find a way to put everything together. Hitting, pitching, and defense. We all know wins you games. No better time to do it here at beautiful Cardines Field.
Darren, George, thank you very much. We'll see you back up in the booth in a little bit, and our pregame show continues next with the Gulls Eye View here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.